Hello Internet, my name's Catherine and today I'm talking to you guys about how I scored over a 30 on my ACT. I am currently a junior and upcoming senior in high school, and I know a lot of my viewers are younger kids who might be taking the ACT or going to take the ACT, and I think that I have some tips that could be really helpful. So let's just get right on into it. Starting with the basics, you have to be dedicated to doing well on the ACT. If you just sit back and you don't practice and you're just like, oh, I'm smart, I know I'm gonna do well, and just walk in there, you're not gonna do well because it's not like every other test. You have to be prepared with the format. Speaking of which, there is no penalty for guessing, which I think a lot of people don't know. So if you can, answer every single question. It will not hurt you. For the English section, you have 75 questions to answer in 45 minutes. The math section is 60 questions in 60 minutes. The reading section is 40 questions in 35 minutes. And the science question is also 40 questions in 35 minutes. So I think it's really important to know what you're up against before you even go in to take the test. Do you need to take the essay? I think that's a really important question to ask. A lot of colleges require the essay, so if you go and search and see what your colleges recommend, then you'll know whether or not you have to take the essay. However, you don't have to take the essay every single time. If your composite score wasn't the best, but your essay score was really good, you can send your highest composite score and your highest essay score separately because your essay does not affect your composite score. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to be prepared. I know a lot of people can't afford tutoring. However, if you can, I highly recommend it. I tutored for about 10 weeks once a week before my ACT, and it helped me so much. I cannot stress that enough. However, I think if you have an ACT practice book, and I'm going to share some tips at the end, that'll help you just the same if you can't afford it. Getting test books. I'm going to include pictures and then links of my favorite test books down below. They are ones that I use to help me prepare. They are so important. They have practice tests in them and information about the ACT in the beginning. So it'll give you example essays, example questions, stuff like that, so that you can learn what's an example of a good essay or an okay essay, and you can see what questions are hard questions, easy questions, and you can really get familiar with the format, which I think is where a lot of people struggle with the ACT. And at the back of the book, they have the answers to the practice tests, and it'll explain why that answer is the correct answer. So even if you can't go into tutoring and have somebody explain that to you, the back of the book will explain it. One of my biggest tips is to write down what you don't know or what you frequently get wrong. This is so important so that when you go back to study for the test, you can realize, all right, I missed these questions, or I was really confused about this, or I didn't know this formula. If you're not in pre-calc, there's going to be a lot of math on the test that you don't know. So it's really important as you're going through test books to realize, okay, I didn't know what the unit circle is, or I don't know what this is, and you can go through and figure out what you need to learn before the test. Time yourself. In the books, it'll tell you the time system, and I told it earlier in the video, and if you sit down when you're doing maybe a section or two sections at a time and timing yourself, it'll help you get used to the time crunch, because that's also where a lot of people stress out because they run out of time. I recommend starting practicing and tutoring early. Don't give yourself 2 weeks before the test or 3 weeks before the test. Try to give yourself at least a month, and if you can, 6 weeks to 2 months of practice and prep before the test, and I guarantee it'll make a world of a difference. After the test, if you can, I suggest taking it again. Unless you get your test back and you are immediately happy with your score and you can afford to take it again, I highly recommend it. You're going to be way more comfortable with the testing place and like where you go to take the test, what's on the test, what the environment is like, and just being familiar is such a big part of taking a test. So now here are some of my tips that I've kind of developed that I think will help you guys. On the reading and science sections, a lot of people and tutors would recommend reading the first sentence and the last sentence of each paragraph and then going to look at the questions and then going back to the paragraphs. For me, however, I don't have such like quick, fast memory where I can be like, oh, this was in paragraph 2. So for me, what works best is I actually just read the whole passage the first time and then go and answer the questions. Because if I just read the first and last sentence, I'm taking my time doing that, I go to read the questions, I don't remember anything, and I have to read the whole thing again anyway. For the science section, sometimes it'll be split up into 2 passages, and I recommend reading the first passage, answering the questions about the first passage, reading the second passage, answering the questions about the second passage, and then answering the questions about all of it, because a lot of them will try to trick you and give questions about passage 2 into passage 1, like where the answers will kind of be like, oh, was this in passage 1 or passage 2? But this is just what helped me, and everybody is different. Register early. Kind of silly, but it'll save you a lot of money, which your parents will thank you for. Thank you, kids, for saving us money! And also stress, because a lot of my friends have been on standby and not known if they've been able to actually take the test that day. And you go through all this prep and you sleep well and you do this whole thing and then you get there and then you can't take the test, and that's just the worst feeling. I recommend to exercise for 10 minutes the morning before the test. I wake up early, I'll do just some jumping jacks, some cardio, just stuff like that. It really helps get your blood flowing, your brain moving, so you're not walking in there being super sluggish. I also like to dress to sort of impress. I'm not wearing nice outfits whatsoever, but I'm not in my sweatpants and a t-shirt. I'll wear like jeans and a t-shirt, or like jeans and a button down, or jeans and a hoodie, or something like that, where I'm comfortable, but I'm not so comfortable I feel like I'm at home. I want this to be like I'm in a testing atmosphere. Arrive to the test center early. You don't want to add any more stress onto yourself that day by being like, oh my gosh, where's my test room? Oh my gosh, where's my test room? Oh my gosh, where's my test room? Lastly, try not to stress out too much about it. You don't need to score a 30 or above to do well on the test, trust me. And if you just go in there with a positive attitude thinking, I can do this, I know what I know, I've got this, that positive aura and that vibe is just gonna make test taking so much easier. I know all of you guys are gonna do great because you're spending time to watch this video and learn tips and practice and all of that. Alright guys, well that was my video. If you liked it or found it helpful, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I make new videos every single Saturday and I would love to have you. If you have any more tips for ACT test takers, make sure you comment those down below. I hope you guys have a great day and I love you so much. Mwah. Bye!